Hey, I'm reading the script from my other phone again. It's not super scripted as it used to be. Like, I tried to script it less so it would be more natural because it gets so specific that I would just forget what I need to say. I tried to keep it like a minimum amount of words, but still like specific enough. And I still don't think I did a good job, but anyway, spoilers for the Nevermore webtoon series and the Throuple ship within it. I read up until episode 155. If you don't know what a throuple is, it's 3 people who are in a romantic / sexual relationship with each other, and it may or may not be exclusive. And I mean, click off right now if you don't actually want spoilers for the Nevermore series on Webtoon or the Throuple ship, because there are a lot of like spoilers. Eulalie, is that how you pronounce her name? Eulalie, Pluto, and Duke, or my ship name for them, Triple U. Probably not the best ship name, but like everyone else was saying Pladucali or Pladucali or Yule Pladuke or something. Duke Plutoli or something. Plutoli. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I guess it's fine. I don't know. Triple U they have alternative styles / personalities. Eulilie's fashion is 1950s goth, I think, and you might assume that someone who dresses goth or punk or emo, etc., would either be shy or rude, but she has a pretty good amount of confidence. She's not cocky or anything, or overconfident. She's also nice, and although Duke didn't start out protective, it's really refreshing to see a male character be protective while also being dramatic and a little feminine. He's fancy, wears suits, and he's also French, so thanks. Gosh. What was I saying? I'm not sure if Duke's type of character, has a name for the trope. This is my cat. Oh my gosh. And Pluto, oh my gosh, Biggs. I hope the purring doesn't bother you. It's probably super loud. Ow, ow, ow. Oh my gosh, Biggs. Maybe I shouldn't have let her in. She just wants constant pets. Don't get your spit everywhere. Pluto dresses in mostly black and has black or dark hair that covers some of his face. Goth or maybe just emo. He's both shy and rude, kind of like the stereotype, but for some reason, I don't know, he's also my favorite character currently. The reasons for and against the ship that I saw in the comments of the series, or that I thought of like just by myself, are representation. There's not very much representation. There's only 2 black characters, I think. They're not like super dark skin, they're just like between my skin tone and dark skin. And a reason for not doing the Throuple ship is because they might want to make Eulalie Arrow Ace, but Prospero was also like right there. It makes like so much sense for him to be Arrow Ace too. And even if they do make Eulalie Arrow Ace, she doesn't have to be fully Arrow Ace. Like, I feel like we don't have enough of those. Enough Arrow Ace characters that are unlabeled, kind of. They relate to like multiple Arrow Ace experiences, so they can't actually like choose a label like me. And the lesbianship, the 2 main characters, like, they're both white. A gay male ship has kissed before the main female ship. I guess it's because they wanted to be a slow burn, maybe. Anyway, I'll get to that. I'll get to that later. Is that it for the representation? I thought there was more. This is why I should have typed down more specific topics. That was number 1. Number 2 is too unrealistic against the ship. And if like people's reasonings for not shipping or the creators not shipping Triple U or the Throuple ship because like it's too unrealistic. What about Duke and Lenore's friendship? They're so close and they're opposite genders. I don't know, maybe it's because Lenore is kind of masculine. Duke is kind of feminine in a way. I would think one of them would be a bit uncomfortable with like how close they are because they might like think that the other wants to be in a romantic relationship with them. Also, how dramatic everything is. Like Lenore and Annabelle haven't kissed yet, except they're constantly acting like a stereotypical couple in private. They say everything about being each other's one and only, especially Annabelle. There keeps being mentions about how they're not romantically involved or something. I guess mostly just in the past, but it just like solidifies those stereotypes. For some reason, one episode just ended with Lenore being super close to Annabelle and like kind of towering over her. And it's like supposed to be kind of sexual, but like neither of the characters seem to think of it as sexual. Like if the series is that dramatic already to the point of it being exaggerative, I mean, especially like how Pluto looks, I think he's already like the goth stereotype. You know, he kind of chooses to dress the way that he does. There's things that he can't control, like his hair being black or dark. And well, he kind of chooses to have his hair in front of his face because of his eye. It's scarred, but it's also a bit out of his control because, I mean, it's not like a style choice. At least it didn't seem very much like a style choice, like when his eye was revealed. And when they were talking more about it, like it's actually just because he doesn't want people to see his scarred eye. The third reason is that they're not compatible and it's against the Throuple ship. It might be that Duke's kind of mean to Pluto, and people think, at least I've seen, I'll comment the Nevermore series on Webtoon, that Duke seems annoyed by Eulalie, and that's why they shouldn't date. But also there have been canon ships where one person is mean to the other, kind of, or like they're both mean to each other. And I think if you don't want like two people to date because they're like kind of mean to each other, there's a threshold where it gets too far. It gets to be too mean, right? Crossing it would mean that that's a toxic relationship, I guess. I'm not completely sure if Duke and Pluto's relationship is toxic, maybe unhealthy, but I think if a relationship is toxic and they shouldn't date, they also shouldn't be friends, shouldn't just stop at dating, or not dating, I guess. But to me, it kind of seems like Pluto and Duke have the same like amount of intrigue / annoyance, I guess, with Eulalie. Like they're not super annoyed, they're just like worried about some of the things that she says sometimes, I guess, right? I think they do like her, romantic or not. They don't dislike her for her quirks. The fourth reason for the ship is that it would be unpredictable because there aren't very many Throuple ships, and since it seems to me that it's leaning more towards Pluto and Duke eventually dating, and people might like expect Duke to not be romantically interested in women or girls. I don't know what their ages are. I guess like, yeah, they're in their mid early 20s. They're all in their 20s, I think. I think there's something else. I can't remember what it was. It would be so cool for there to be a throuple that's like this, I guess. Other throuple ships that I've seen, all of those characters usually always have like a mainstream fashion or conventional personality, I guess. Like if they're a woman, then they are feminine. Like they're not super masculine. They don't have short hair. They're a damsel in distress a lot of the time. They dress feminine, and the men are masculine. They protect the women and stuff, or they're more likely to actually be able to protect themselves. which Pluto is the one being protected sometimes by mainly Duke. I guess sometimes Eulalie, I don't know. Not really though, not a whole lot. Like second hand, kind of from a distance, protecting Pluto. But Duke's character specifically is like very interesting. I guess I've seen it a few times, especially on Webtoon, I think, where there's just like a feminine man, like the mannerisms are feminine. I actually, like, what do I even say? Duke is a troublemaker. He's disobedient. That's not a feminine trait, but like the way he carries himself, I guess, the way he moves, and at least like the way I imagine his voice sounds, he's kind of feminine. And the way he's dramatic, that's also a feminine trait, but he's protecting people. He's not usually the one being protected. They did like go and rescue him that one time, but he was also like dying and couldn't get out himself. Like it would have been impossible without his Spectre, unless they freed him before Montresor and Ada got there, but they didn't. Like they had to mainly depend on him to free himself. And oh, right, that one scene, gosh, what episode was it? I can't remember what episode it was. It was probably episode 70 something. No, episode 60 something. I remember seeing a comment where someone said that the shippers are getting fed because a bunch of like dynamics that a bunch of people like that was presented in that episode. The dynamic between Eulalie, Duke, and Pluto, for example. You know, since they're only 5% of this video. And in that episode, they were showing Pluto being worried about Duke, and is it unmanifested? Duke unmanifested, and then he was cold. Pluto gave Duke his jacket or his coat, and I mean, it's probably just that like I think Duke's character is supposed to be flirty. I guess is it because he's French? Like he's kind of always flirting with people. He's flirting with everyone. Like when he found his coin in Pluto's pocket because he had Pluto's coat on, he's like, someone has sticky fingers. That wasn't very flirty. That was one of the less flirty scenes with Duke in it, I think. But then Eulalie comes up and then hugs him. She tackles him and hugs him, and like there's this ship for like a few panels, and then they almost fall because of the tackle, because Eulalie tackled Duke, but Duke catches Eulalie and himself, and then Pluto is blushing. It's definitely supposed to be ambiguous why he's blushing, I think. And then for like a moment, Duke is like holding Eulalie's hand, like, and I'm kind of wondering why exactly, because they were both upright. He was holding her hand for a panel that they weren't shown to be struggling with their balance. It seemed like, at least to me. And then there was like in season 2, there was an episode where the top comments were shipping Duke, Pluto, and Eulalie. So I have a feeling like probably at least half of the audience shipped them. I'm thinking, well, I'll get to that later. Eulalie and Pluto were looking at Duke after his plan, and they didn't like the way that he did that, and it kind of makes sense. All he had to do was give more information, at least to Pluto. So I mean, like, because anyway though, they were both staring at him in a stereotypical couple way, and in an episode later, Duke, Eulalie, and Pluto all got trapped in a room running from the stag. And, well, like, Eulalie and Duke weren't helping Pluto with the door at first, or at all, I guess, actually. So Pluto hurt his arm trying to keep it closed. And Duke and Eulalie were shown to be worried about him, like, they heard his exclamation and they stopped what they were doing to see if he was alright, I think. But since they noticed that the door was blocked off anyway, they were just trying to be quiet and think of a way to get out of there so they can get to the arboretum, or however you pronounce it. And they all went into a dumbwaiter. Some people thought of it as like the only one bed trope, and like there was this one funny, really funny comment that said, "Me and my totally platonic besties are staying overnight in a haunted mansion, but oh no, there's only one dumbwaiter. I guess we'll have to share." Literally, how do people come up with this stuff? But anyway, it would be so great if they actually made it canon, but I think they might not have actually been making a Duke and Pluto canon at first, but I think they are, because they responded to a comment about the ship, and like it seems like they're leaning in that direction. So I guess moving on from the Throuple ship, I think mostly the episode where Lenore gets her specter and stuff is cool. But then it kind of almost was ruined for me when Lenore said, "We take what we want for ourselves, damn the rest if that's what it takes," to Annabelle. Episodes later, Annabelle brought Lenore's body back, and Duke was suspicious why she would do that. So he was like really pressing her, but like Annabelle's right hand man was whatever it's called, like second in command. He started pushing Duke off of like Annabelle, or away from Annabelle, and then somehow Duke got into a fight with his old roommate Montresor, and then Pluto got into a fight with his old roommate Prospero, who was just defending Annabelle. He never wanted to get into a fight, and Eulalie was telling Montresor to stop beating up Duke. But then she ended up fighting Montresor's right-hand man, Will, because Montresor threw him at her. And like I was so ready to see the fight. Like that would have made me feel better about like the way Lenore kind of portrayed her friends. But then the next episode doesn't even show the rest of the fight. They don't show how it stops or any more of the fight. Like people were loving the fight in the comments, a lot of people, but they don't show the whole fight. Then the next episode is like, it just made me even sadder, because Annabelle's character is like, actually, she does annoy me a lot. She also said, "I forgive you" to a person who dropped their makeup while neither of them were looking. It was mostly Annabelle's fault though. I wouldn't care nearly as much if she also helped them with their stuff, but she didn't. And I guess that's fine, you know, she's supposed to be that way. Anyway, I'm not sure. Is that it? That might be it. Maybe I might do an update or something. Yeah, I'll do an update. Maybe. No. Actually, I might not. Well, just if you want an update, say so in the comments. It will take like a few weeks or so to actually get the update out, though.